Hello, everyone, and welcome to another amazing episode of Lotus Arising. We're here with beautiful goddess, psychic medium, medicine woman, and healer, Jimar Blanco.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, we're so excited.
Thank you.
Please
I'm honored to be here.
yourself.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Introduce myself?
Yes.
But you introduced me right now wonderfully. I'm just grateful to be here and share myself with you guys and just have a little time with this beautiful goddess and have her share her energy and her light. I've had the pleasure of
Sacred blessings.
of sharing with her for quite a few years now, and I'm very excited that it's your turn now.
Thank you.
So you get to ask me all the questions.
I know, that's
now.
the cool part. I'm excited here. So tell our viewers, how long have you been a psychic medium and how long have you been doing readings?
Well, I was born this way, as they say.
Great answer.
I am a 6th generation medium, as far as I can track. Probably go back more than that, but I was a very young little girl when I realized that there were spirits, that there was things talking, people talking, that there was more in the room than just me. So it's not like, a lot of people ask me that, like, when did you realize? How did you realize?
Yeah.
How long have you been
Common
doing
question
it?
in the
Yeah.
psychic medium
Yeah,
world.
and it's like, how long have you been doing this? Well, basically, ever since I can remember.
Yeah.
So, I realized actually that I was maybe a little different when I was 14 years old.
Okay.
And I realized that people in the room weren't seeing what I was seeing. People weren't being affected by the energies the way I was being affected. Once I became hormonally awoken, yes,
You must.
at 14, 15, and you're like, oh my God, these hormones,
Yeah, and they're all
things?
like rising and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, what do I do?
And that's when I realized that I had this gift that I was able to use from a very, very young age, and I didn't know any different.
Okay.
So, so I started doing readings actually right at that time. But as far as medium work, I have memories of like being 6 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, and going to the basement to go get rid of the thing with the little green eyes that was bothering me, looking at me,
Wow.
making me uncomfortable. So my mediumship was at a very young age, and then realizing that I could help spirits heal at a very young age, because I was helping
Helping
these
them.
I was helping these spirits that were trapped in my
The
house,
supposed
that were
disease.
driving me crazy,
Yeah.
not letting me sleep, that wanted to play, and they were scary. So I was like, no, they need to be free. They need to be nothing wants to be imprisoned.
That is so powerful. Let's take a deep breath after that one.
We'll have some of your wonderful tea.
Thank you. I mean, it is Lotus Rising and tea time, so what would it be
Yes.
without our tea? And cheers to
Cheers.
Jimar Blanco for being our lovely
Yes.
guest today.
Thank you.
I just want to breathe in that good steam and that good energy and feel
It's so yummy.
balanced.
I'm the type of person, whenever I sit down with anyone to share space, I always like to clear my energy. I always like to clear the space. And I think it's very important that we always share something, like a cup of tea,
Yes.
or a cigar, or a glass of wine, whatever it is. But in that process, we really open space. So right now, we're actually opening space.
In our hearts, in our minds, in our body, in our
The
soul.
whole space.
In our spirit, right here, right now. There's nothing more powerful in this moment, and it's very beautiful. Thank you for bringing us back to this space and reminding us of that. I think we all need that. Thank you. We're getting a free session right now, right here, so you better contact her. But I want to know more about like where you grew up and if you traveled during your younger years. Or I'd like to know.
Well, I was born in Puerto Rico, and I come from a family of mediums, of espiritistas. and they were based in Puerto Rico and they were based in New York. So my mom, on my Puerto Rican side, my mom's family was all over the Northeast due to their work, to their spiritual work. They opened up spiritual centers in New York and in Puerto Rico. So my mom basically took us where she felt comfortable, where she had her family, because my father was Colombian and he didn't have any family here. So I was born in Puerto Rico, and then I ended up in Boston, and that's where I did my first ghost busting.
I did not know this about you. Now I'm finding out.
Yeah, that's where all my ghost busting really started, was in Boston. It's a really old city. It's very historical. There's a lot of
buildings and energies and places.
It's just when it comes to that stuff, like New York is very different. Like, I do travel a lot. I go to New York quite often. I have a lot of family in New York. I have a huge family base there. I have a lot of clients, patients, students there. But the energy in New York is very different than the energy in Boston. The energy in Boston is old, it's stagnant. It's just, there's this, it's a little bit different. And everybody that goes there to learn, to discover something about their intelligence, about their own personal philosophy.
Of course.
You know, it's funny, you know, we were talking about Hare Krishnas earlier. In Boston, growing up as a little girl, I grew up four blocks from Fenway on this street called Boylston Street. And right down the block, there was a Lutheran church and there was a Hare Krishna temple. So we would have the Hare Krishnas, this is in the 70s, we would have the Hare Krishnas dancing and singing Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, all down the street about twice a day, in the morning and the afternoon. And I have very fond memories of like climbing out the window and going to go sing with them and praise with them. And you know, the beauty of my childhood was that I came from people that were spiritual. I came from people that understood what I was feeling, what I was going through. I was never told, no, that's not real. No, that's not true. Or she's crazy, or something's happening to her.
It was okay to think and be...
Well, it was normal.
Yeah.
My grandmother was a very famous, powerful medium. And it was her and her four sisters. There were four sisters. So it was normal. It wasn't different. So I personally believe that we all have the ability to connect.
Yes.
We are all psychics. We all have the ability to be mediums. We all have the ability to tap into the magnetic field. We all have the ability to really connect into our core and allow all of that to travel, and for us to see it and to have vision and to have sight. But our dogmas, our taboos, our politics don't allow us to fully embrace that and turn it off and make it seem like there's something wrong with it, like it's something bad. So a lot of us from a young age, we have sight, but then we're told there's nothing there. Yeah. You know, are you crazy? And then you think, oh, if I could tell you, you know. So like a lot of children are scared of like, oh, there's monsters in my bed, or there's something in the closet. Well, there's a spirit there. There's something bothering, making them uncomfortable. They're not crazy. There's not like, you know.
And they think they're delusional and they need help. And then the wrong part of that is that they prescribe them usually with pharmaceuticals, thinking that they have these issues, that they must be prescribed something, when in the end that prescription just damages them in the long run even more.
You know, I have quite a few cases throughout the years where I've received a soul that was completely intoxicated and numbed with medication. And I could hear their soul crying out, telling me, free me, strip me of this suit, and free me and help me and teach me how to fly. And I've really had the honor and privilege to do that for quite a few people. Like, I've been like, hey, you're not crazy. You're not seeing things. You're not, you're not schizophrenic. You're not, you actually, you have vision. You have sight. You can see,
Yes.
and what you're feeling is because you're an empath and you walked into somewhere that was traumatic and you picked up that energy and you're carrying it with you, and now it's stuck inside of your organs and you don't know how to let it go. And then there was a full moon. So when people come to see me, part of my gift is that I can scan you.
Lets you know what's good energy and what's negative.
It's not necessarily what's good or bad, because in my world nothing is good or bad. Everything really has a purpose. Everything has a reason. It's more to,
You think even if it's toxic, or even if
everything has a reason. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason. Everything has something for you to discover, to release, to learn from. It wouldn't be on your path. It wouldn't be with you if it didn't have a purpose or a reason. So when people come, the first thing that I do is I scan them. And it's funny because I have x-ray technicians, I have doctors, and I think it's so funny because they're like, scan me. Because it's like an x-ray that I kind of like do, but it's like an energetic x-ray. So when you come to me, it's like, I want to know like how I have to treat you based on your energetic feeling, where your traumas are at, where you have scar tissue. Like, are you deficient in vitamin D? Because if you are, it's going to make you depressed. So
I actually believe I am, because the last time I went to the doctor, she did tell me that, and I'm supposed to be taking vitamin D. So thank you for reminding me, medicine woman, healer.
But what I'm saying is, going back to being medicated, a lot of people go see a therapist, a lot of people go see a doctor, go see a psychologist. But those simple little questions are you sleeping 8 hours a day?
Exactly.
Did you have a car accident recently? Did you hit your head?
Yeah, something as simple
as that.
Which seems funny, but it's the reality.
Yeah, but so with the ability that I have, like, to scan you and to see it, I can really, I can help you see things that maybe you're not seeing. Like a very common thing in South Florida, believe it or not, is thyroid issue. A lot of people have thyroid issues.
I've seen that. A lot of people have.
Because a lot of people don't get out that much because it's so bloody hot. So we live in these concrete, air-conditioned caves.
And we don't
we don't get enough exercise. We don't get enough sun. We don't get enough fresh air. And there's so much humidity, and it's absolutely delicious out there. But it's just so hot, and it's so unbearable for so long.
Yeah.
So it helps these other things develop, because when you're not taking care of yourself, the universe will come take care of it for you.
I don't mean to laugh, but it's because I feel and know that exactly what you're saying is true. So it's like a reassurance. Like, it's almost like a confirmation of,
When you don't take care of something, and you're avoiding something, and you're not paying attention to something that you should be doing, and you're acting dumb, stupid, or you're making a fool out of yourself, the universe will come and remind you. Hello, darling. What is it that you need to help you wake
one
up?
Of those maracas.
And very common is a car accident. Very common is a sickness. There's so many things that the universe will come do to shake you up and to wake you up and to remind you to get back on path, to get back on course. But then people see those things as bad luck, as a bad omen, or, why does it always woe is me? It's like, no, it's not about that. You should have been taking care of your shit. You should have been taking care of yourself. Or if not, the universe wouldn't have to come do it for you. And if you leave it up to the universe, it doesn't understand kindness, compassion, none of that stuff. It just understands that you need to go, you need to do, you need to move. It's very male energy, very male oriented.
I can definitely relate.
The tea is so nice.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm gonna have to pour a little bit more, actually. If you want a little more lemonade. Pour you up. So we can sip on it. And I want to know more about being a ceremony officiant and like what does that consist of?
Oh, I love ceremonies. I love ceremonies. I believe that every morning when we rise is a ceremony.
I need to start looking at it that way. Not just walking my dog every morning.
I believe that when the sun rises, like there's a ceremony in the sky of the union of night and day, the union of two things. You know what I mean? The transfer, the movement. You know?
Yeah.
It's something so
I do know what you mean.
So special, so deep, so profound, and we don't. You know, we're moving too fast and we go in a world too fast and we don't understand those simple ceremonies. But I do wedding ceremonies for babies, ceremonies when people cross over. I also do ceremonies for people embracing their spirituality. You know, there's so many different things that we can celebrate, and because we are marrying two things. But the truth is that, you know, we have to really stop and be conscious and aware of that thing. And that's what ceremonies are. And I love that. I love weddings. Oh my gosh, I love weddings.
I do too. Mainly for the food, but
no, not for the food. I don't stay long enough. I don't stay around long enough for the food.
I like the dancing though. I like the energy and the dancing and the joy and the families. I've been to many weddings, and I could just say based off of those weddings that were family weddings, that the times that I saw my family together and my grandmother and then he's dancing with the nephews and everyone's dancing. It's just such a heartwarming feeling.
One of the reasons that I decided to really focus and do weddings and focus on that side of it was because I was 24 and I had a boss that said, I needed somebody to translate. I'm doing a wedding. And I was like, oh, okay. It was at a country club. And I translated, actually took over, did the whole ceremony. Everybody was crying, feeling it. And what really got me was the celebration of the union, the love that was being expressed, that was being felt in the room, you know? And I love it. One of the reasons that I love my wedding ceremonies is because I truly stop and take a moment and allow everyone in the room to truly be present and aware of what is actually going on. Not what is she wearing?
Yeah.
Now look at her shoes. Oh my God, I can't believe her mom is here with a new boyfriend.
I can't stand that.
Like, you know, like it's like, okay, everybody come back. Let's be present
now.
Let's be here.
Focus on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you asked me. Something about the weddings, but that's the main reason I love weddings. You know, it's funny because if you look over there, that is a painting of the wedding ceremony between Rama and Sita, which are Hindu gods, and that was a gift.
If you don't mind.
That was actually a gift. You know, that's a really interesting story. But if you look, they're playing instruments, they're dancing, you see the celebration. It really, really...
You sense the Krishna energy.
It's really there. But that was a gift from someone that I helped for many years. Actually come off old path into her new self and give birth. There's my spiritual midwife. And I helped her make peace with the relationship with her father.
Wow.
And I helped her go through a process, very long process, as her father went through hospice and he went through his turns and his changes. And when he passed, this was a gift that I received. He was an art collector. So it's actually from him.
That's even more powerful. So his energy is present.
Yeah. So when he finally did his transition, he actually came. Like, I never met him physically, but I helped because I ended up helping the whole family. So it's really beautiful. Yeah, so it's a ceremony, get it? A celebration. And when he died, it's a ceremony, it's a celebration.
Yeah.
Because you're crossing over, you're merging.
You know, mourning, you're celebrating life.
Correct. And you're celebrating that you're going over to the other side.
Yeah.
And that you're still loved. And that you're still remembered.
You know what I find interesting about that is like, when they bury the body, they don't do that. But when you have ashes, they usually do the celebration of life. And I remember when my teacher Jill passed away, and we went to her ceremony of life, and it was like his daughter was the principal of the school, and he invited us all to go, and he goes, do not mourn her death. This is not to be mourned. She would want us to all be happy. We're celebrating her life here. Now feast. And there was food to eat, and everyone was happy. I mean, we were sad, but he didn't want us to be sad.
He didn't want you to be sad, but you still have to mourn.
Yeah.
You still have to go through the mourning process.
That's important.
It's very, very important. I'm also an emotional therapist, and that's one of the things that I work with the most is allowing yourself to let go, to mourn, to accept.
And when you have to cry, just let it out.
When you have to feel. Illnesses and diseases actually produce themselves when we don't allow ourselves to release our emotional trauma, our emotional baggage. When we hold on to our emotions and when we hold on to our pain, we're storing it inside of our organs, inside of our body. Okay? And the organs that are our main are our kidneys, all the filters are the ones that hold your emotions. Okay? And all that pain and all that anger, all that resentment, you hold it on in there and it builds up.
And that can actually kill us if
That's
we
what
don't
builds
take
disease.
care of it. Yeah.
That's what builds disease. So it's very important that you always go through the emotional process of whatever you're going through to help you let go, so that you don't hold on, because now you become a bag lady.
Yeah.
And then you're holding on.
You don't want to be like the song of Erica Badu.
You know, that's my jam, girl.
I did hear him play that in my head. As soon as he said, "Bag lady, you gonna hurt yourself." Grabbing all them bags. I guess nobody ever told you all you must hold on to is you, is you, is you. One day all them bags gon' get in your way. One day all them bags gon' get in your way. So pack light. I loved it. I was jamming the whole time. I love Jimar.
I actually give that song as therapy, because that's one of the things that I truly believe in, is that music, movement,
healing,
sound is therapy. You want to let go, you want to release, get your ass up and dance. Have your tea and dance and sing and let go. It's the best it's the best free therapy you could ever give yourself. You know, yesterday I put up stuff on my Instagram and all this bunch of stuff about dancing, movement, and yesterday I said, allow your inner child to be free, allow it to dance and whatever. And I received like 7-8 videos of people just dancing.
That's amazing.
And people were just sending me videos of them like shaking their asses, like people just getting down and dirty, and then I had somebody else doing pirouettes in their backyard. Wow. You know, and it's really, you know, it's really about allowing yourself to always feel free within your pain, because there's always going to be pain of some form somehow, because we're always changing, and change is painful. You have to think of a flower, and then you have to think of pain doesn't always mean that it's bad. You know, sometimes it's just tightness, and that tightness, like when you look at a snake and it's releasing, it's shedding its skin, the eyes get milky, and then it's like the skin becomes tight and it looks like it wants to pop, and it looks so uncomfortable. And then she starts scratching herself, and she starts scratching herself until I'm serious, until she can grab onto something. And I say she because I just think that was a girl. And she just grabs on, and she just goes, ah. And you can see how relieved she is, and her eyes start to get clear again, and the skin starts to glisten. And you're like, yes, girl, let it go, let it go. And it's so easy when we dance, when we sing, to actually like create a membrane around us that we can just look like this, like this, like this. We can just allow ourselves to go straight in through, and just, you know, sometimes we have to push a little bit, because sometimes the membranes are resistant, okay? But get in there, push.
So
Put
funny
your
you
head
say
through
that.
there. And you know, that's one of the things about being a spiritual midwife is I love that. I love when people are not afraid of their own resistance,
Yeah.
of their own power, of their own strength, of their own darkness, because it actually allows you to get closer to the light and to your truth. Because no pain, no gain. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be, it has to be painful always, or that you have to go through, but you have to acknowledge the change.
Exactly.
You have to acknowledge that you have to let go. You have to
Yes.
acknowledge that it's time for a new phase, a new cycle.
Yeah, and I think that's what free your pain actually is that exactly right
Mhm.
there, is that just acceptance of letting go and allowing yourself to evolve to the next chapter, and free within your pain. If you don't mind, that's a song right there.
Yeah.
You're all free within your pain.
Don't know that song. If I did, I would have sung it with you, babe. But
No, I just made it up based off.
There you go.
No, I wanted to make a song just based off of that.
There
Like
you go.
when I heard that, it was inspiring for writing for me as a writer. I love that message. That's a perfect message. Is free within your pain.
But you know what? You know what's beautiful?
Let's be.
Give your pain a purpose.
That's even better. I don't know which one's better. I think they're both just as good.
All right, go ahead.
So, with that being said, tell us a little bit more about whiteeaglecenter.com. What we can expect from there.
Well, you know, I don't do much with my website.
No.
I have it there for people that actually have a hard time making decisions or a payment or live overseas and stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't do much on my website. It's just really my products, things that I sell, my sprays, what services I have. Because a lot of people ask me, Jimar, what is it that you do?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh my gosh, I do so many different things. So my website is just, my website just shows you a list of all the different things that I do. But on my website also, I put up my events, because I do events. I do goddess circles, I do workshops, and I do them in New York, I do them in Pennsylvania, I do them here in Miami. So I have people all over, and soon I'm coming to Cali.
Woo! West Coast.
I'm coming to Cali.
Oh man, I'll be there soon.
Yes, I'm already. I already have my base there. I'm just getting everything ready to have my first official retreat with photography and food and a lot of goddess energy and yoga and anyway, you gotta follow me and you gotta look me up too if you're interested in that. But I'm mostly on Instagram. I got off Facebook a few years ago because it was just too political for me.
I feel that.
It was just a platform, and then social media, honestly, is very difficult for me. It's very time consuming.
Yeah.
And because I am so sensitive,
Mm-hmm.
I open up people's things and I see people's faces and I know what they're going through and I know what's going on and I hear and I can tap into their story and immediately I'm working again. The next thing you know, I'm sending people energy. I'm, you know, consumed with, oh my God, is this person okay? Da-da-da. And strangers, people don't even know me. People I don't even know. But I saw them as I was scrolling and I was like, who is this? And what is this? And, you know, and so social media is a very, it's very, I love it. And then I hate it. It's a love-hate relationship.
I understand that.
Because it just, I'm working. You know, when I'm on
Completely
it,
understand.
I'm working, and it's, I need
Yeah.
to give myself, like we all do, we need to really give ourselves our downtime, our
Yeah, it's
us time,
important.
our me time.
You need
know,
that time.
You need that.
You must.
And that phone
takes you away and out
takes
of
you,
that.
look, you're using all of this, you're using this. How many of you out there are suffering from neck pain? Hello?
Or carpal
A
tunnel.
carpal tunnel. That is all your
I think
phone.
I actually have it, honestly, carpal tunnel from using my phone.
That is all your phone. And then the next thing is too, your sight. Now they discover that it messes with your melanin.
All your senses, everything, your body.
And then you guys, now we have 5G. So you know what this means? That we're walking around with a little microwave oven. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think of the radiation, and I want you to think of the effects that that has. I want you to think of the microwave.
I gotta stop using it.
I want you to think of the microwave, and if you were to put water in a microwave, if you were to microwave water that you give a plant, that plant will not live. You will give that plant cancer. So I want you just to think about that.
Especially for your children who are eating macaroni in the microwave.
Your children should not be eating macaroni and cheese from the box with the dried stuff anyway. But that's just me personally. We're not here for that.
One-on-ones later.
No, I became a vegetarian at a very young age. I was 16 years old, and I had an experience with the pig and the piglets, and I was in Puerto Rico, and they were killing the pig. You know, it's our tradition during Christmas time that we go and kill the pig. So I was very young. I was 16 years old when I was horrified, traumatized.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
And you know why? It was gruesome and it was intense. And the babies were running after the mama, and they were crying and the whole shebang. But the worst part was that they put me in the back of the pickup truck from Carolina to Bayamon. So if you know how far that is, it's a pretty long ride. Okay, they put me in the back of the pickup truck with the pig. The pig's soul, the pig was still, it was talking to me. We were having a full conversation.
Wow.
And I was just horrified that this thing had a soul, and that it had the relationship that it had with its young, and that we would be so selfish and so greedy to do this to her. And she was so confused, and she didn't know where she was going, and she was like, what am I doing with it? You know, so it was, yes, I talk to animals, and I do animal healing, and and I help you find out what's going on with your pups, cats. You know, they also pick up a lot of energy that we let go of. And in Miami,
Yeah.
telling you guys a little something in Miami, it's actually very common for brujeria, for black magic, voodoo, to be done to people, and the one that picks it up is actually the animal in the house. And next thing you know, the animal's sick, or the animal has cancer, and the animal dies.
Really? And that's
Yes.
in brujeria?
Yeah, because the animal protected you from picking that up, so the animal picked it up for you, because the animal's your protector.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, just a
Like-
little tidbit of the work that I do, guys.
Guys need to know more about what she does, because if you're interested.
Yeah, just letting you know how diverse the spiritual world is.
Yeah,
It's not just, that's why I'm showing you the experience with the pig, and then with everything, like everything, we're connected. Everything is connected. We're all connected to this huge magnetic field. We're all connected to these frequencies, and we're all synchronized through different spaces and times. But we're all connected. It's all one big web.
What is your web of inspiration to help others?
My web of inspiration to help others is, at a very young age, I had to heal myself.
Yeah.
From my own traumas that I'm still healing from, that I'm still day to day dealing with, and that I'm still pushing through. And that's where I draw my inspiration. That's where I draw my strength. That's where I want to help people, because I learned to heal myself through living my truth and through being honest with myself. So it inspired me to help others do that.
I keep seeing this violet light. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty on.
It just keeps turning on, and it's all over your face, and
Yeah.
and I just saw it over there in the corner. It's interesting because that color comes sometimes, but as you're speaking,
yeah, and it comes
like
out of my ear,
vibrating off of
and
me.
it flies, and it goes that way. Actually, that's my spirit animal over there. So
I
that's,
kind of sense that, because
Yeah,
the energy,
and
of the
she's
animal
like,
and yeah,
I got you locked in.
and I'm just like,
Yeah. Not only that, but you did give me this violet blue, it is blue lotus,
yeah, we do have
but
the color.
but it is violet. in my world, but yeah.
It's violet. I mean, the color is blue like your couch, and then once it dehydrates, it turns into this violet color.
What's blue? It's the process of blue breaking down.
Of course, and there's also different color. There's some, like, we have darker blues.
I love the little golden touches in it. Because gold and purple are colors of royalty.
Royalty. I was just gonna, because the Egyptians.
So it's so beautiful.
It's like, this comes from Egypt, and even the gold lids, it has some kind of energy and significance about it.
Well, gold is the best transmuter of energy. That's why it's so powerful, and that's why
it does feel very like in the way that it feels with the silver versus the gold. This is more positive.
Well, gold is the best conductor of energy. That's why they came and they inhabited our planet. They were looking for gold. And if you notice, the saints, the holy people, they always have a gold aura around their head. And if you look at the Egyptians, they all had that gold head and stuff like that, because gold is the best transmuter of energy that there is. So it's gold, copper, brass, all the metals. But gold is superb. Gold is king, honey.
It's golden.
Gold is king. They come from other parts of the universe looking for our gold.
And I love blue too, and I love how much they love blue, and not just the blue lotus flower, but you'd always see the women with beautiful blue eye makeup.
Well, if you really look at purple, and violet, it's a breakdown of blue with red, and red represents the earth. It represents the earth. It represents our blood. It represents our sacrifice, and then blue represents our purity, but it also represents our connection with the universe and with our depth, and so that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. And what is shadow work?
Shadow work? Well, shadow work is basically the acceptance of your dark side. Some people will call it your female side. Some people call it your negative side. Okay. But I like to call it your shadow side, because it's the shadow, it's the dark side of the moon. And some people confuse it and think it's
Pink Floyd.
Some people think you thought of Pink Floyd.
Yeah,
I thought of the moon. When the moon is new, you just can't see her, and she's in her dark side. She's in her darkness. So I help people work with their dark side and
help me a lot.
and accept that we have this darkness to us, and that it's not bad. That it's just a moment of reflection, as a space for us to slow down and to just regrow, and to womb work is the best way to explain it. Because when you're within the womb, it's dark,
like a baby.
Yeah. You're being held. You're being given all the nutrients, everything that you need. Your mother is holding you and loving you and creating you unconditionally. Yeah. So there's this unconditional love and acceptance that you receive when you're in the darkness. Yeah. When you're within yourself, when you're within all the pieces of yourself, and you learn to accept all the ugly, the messy, the pretty, the disastrous, everything. The unpleasant, everything. But when we learn to accept all of those things, when we learn to slow down and just accept it all, and realize that it's part of who we are, and they're tools to help us grow, because that's where we grow, is within the darkness. Because it's within the darkness that you can actually see the stars. True. If not, you can't see the stars.
It's so true.
So shadow work it's not about what's hiding over there. No, it's what's hiding in here.
There's someone there.
No, there's people out there.
Yeah. That is so funny. How can somebody understand their astrology chart or their numerology?
Oh, honey, that's a lot of work. That's hard for somebody to understand, right off the bat like that.
But there is a chart, and there is a way to read it.
That's a whole science. My thing is, I want to turn off this candle. Give me a second.
You're good. I just need a moment. We shared a moment with the light, and now we will share a moment with the darkness.
Yes.
In balance.
Yes. There we go. Because it's empty. So you see, the vessel is empty.
We have released.
Okay, ask me again. Astrology. So, astrology, it's such a complex science. It truly is, and it takes years to uncover and discover. And it goes with numerology. It's like tarot, like card reading. There's a science to it, and it takes years to uncover the frequencies that it holds. So as you move along, you uncover new pieces and new parts, just like we do with ourselves.
Yeah.
So the great thing with astrology and how it's a great tool, and to make it very easy for all of us to use, I like to explain it like this. So each sign represents a certain tool, okay? So each sign represents a certain thing, a certain tool, a certain feeling, emotion, lesson, however you want to look at it, okay? So it's a wheel, right? And so it's actually like if we were looking up, so it actually goes this way, and you read it this way. But the interesting thing is that as we go through each season, we go through each sign, right?
Yeah.
So, for instance, this is Leo season. So we're going through the sign of Leo, okay? So what does Leo stand for? Leo stands for romance, for love, for leadership, for beauty, for creative energy, creative flow, for self-love, for self-care, for abundance, okay? Those are all the things, those are all the positive sides of Leo. So during Leo season, you can tap into those energies. Now, how would you use astrology? So now you would look and see where in your chart you have Leo, okay? So now let's say you have Leo in your first house. Okay. So during Leo season, your first house is affected. So what does your first house stand for? The first house stands for yourself. It's the head. It's the beginning, okay? It represents your warrior, your male energy, okay?
That makes sense.
Okay, so that's the first house. So during Leo season, your first house is the one that's being activated. So during Leo season, it's all about you, your warrior,
The
your
star.
head,
Okay.
the star. Correct. So let's say that's what it is, right? So then let's say that you have Mars in there and you have your moon. Now we have a lot of action. So now during Leo season, your moon is creative and active, okay? And then your Mars is doing its thing and it's moving, right? So then what does that mean? That means that your moon, which is your emotions, is going to be very activated.
Of course.
And Mars, which is your male side, is going to be very activated too. So you're going to be dealing with your emotions and you're going to be dealing with your male side in your first house.
I feel that.
No, it's not for you.
But I do. I can relate.
But that's how you can use astrology, you know. And then numerology, every day has a number, and you can look up the number and what it means. There's only 9 numbers because there's only single digits. It's only 1 through 9. And every day you add up the numbers, and it gives you one number, and that is the vibration for the day. And you learn the meanings of each number, and that way you get to learn what the vibration of the day holds.
That was so healing just to hear you say that. I don't know. It all made a lot of sense to me, but it's just like made me want to take a really deep breath.
It's a great tool. That people get really complicated and like, oh, I have to learn what my sextile and how this is opposition. And it's like,
I've noticed that.
Oh my goodness, don't do that. This will take you a lifetime to decipher. Yeah, slow down.
Sometimes I see that people really go out of their way to ask so many questions, and sometimes I know what you feel almost because I'm like, man, you have to just experience it.
You have to just go through it.
Go through the motions.
Like what I was saying about earlier about pain. That's why it's not necessarily pain. For some people, it's pain because they're not used to it. It's different, and they feel the stress and they feel the pressure. But it's not necessarily pain. It's just going through it.
I think
it's
the thing
uncomfortable.
is like calling it a negative thing, and then sometimes religious people can do this where they make you feel guilty and bad for your natural pain, and it's like, go pray, go do this, but shouldn't I just you know?
You know, prayer is an amazing thing. Prayer can change things because you're actually talking to yourself.
Yeah.
But are you coming from a place of forgiveness? Are you coming from a place of self-acceptance? Are you coming from a place of love? Or if you're coming from a place of guilt,
or is it just ego? Is it just me?
Yeah. So then, when you're praying, you have to be very careful what you're asking for, because prayer is when you're asking for something.
It's
meditation is when you're receiving, right? So when we're praying, we're programming with what we're thinking and what we're putting out. So if you feel guilty for what you've done, you're putting out guilt. You're manifesting guilt. You're programming guilt. So it's very important that when you do pray, if someone does tell you, oh, you need to go pray about that, that you understand where you need to pray from and where you're coming from, whatever your prayer is. Because prayer is programming.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
You're programming. You're putting in a program. You're downloading. Downloading. Bing. So you have to be very careful. I always tell people, be very careful what you ask for.
Because you just might get it.
Because when you receive it, you might not know what the hell you want to do with it.
You might not be ready for it. You might not want to accept it at all. And then you might be fearful and let it go, and it could be good or bad. But acceptance, I think, and understanding is key. I was just talking to somebody earlier about relationships and how a lot of people are very toxic for each other and not accepting and codependent on one another. And I would agree. I think if there was more acceptance and understanding, and
yeah, but you need authenticity for that.
Yeah.
And people don't know how to be authentic.
That's true.
And nowadays, in the world that we live in, with all of these images that we're constantly being flashed within our psyche, constantly being flashed in front of our psyche, it's very difficult to be authentic. You have to.
In this modern day, I have to agree.
Yeah, it's very, very, very,
Maybe
very
it
difficult.
wasn't at one point, but
there's always an issue with being authentic, because people are always being judged according to somebody's dogmas,
categories that were
somebody's
labels
politics,
that were put in.
somebody's way of thinking that this is the way it should be, you know? Everybody's different, everyone's their own world. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. It's just your way. It is what you are. And you have to figure that out for yourself.
What a beautiful conversation. Can I give you a hug? Yeah, you're beautiful, so Jimar. Jimar is an amazing healer. I've been seeing her for the past, I'd say, 5 or 6 years now, and she has just completely transformed my path and helped me heal in ways that, to be honest, nobody ever has. And that's not something that I would just say.
Thank you.
I feel honored to be here today with her and just in her presence. I have one more question, and then we'll get on to the social media, guys, because I know you guys are dying to know more about her and where you can contact her and how you can schedule an appointment. But I'm just curious as to where you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years with your clients and like where you see them.
Well, I'm going through a transition stage myself, personally, because of where I am in life as far as a mother.
Yeah.
And or my children, the choices my children have to make. So wherever my children go, I go.
Perfect answer.
So within the next 5 years, my children will all be living their independent lives. So I will probably not be in South Florida.
Yeah.
I want to actually move to the Northeast, and I want to move to the Northeast, but then the West Coast is calling me.
We will meet again.
And I'm at a point in my life where I can truly serve both areas. I can travel a lot more.
Of course.
I'm not so restricted. So where do I see, like on a personal note, where do I see myself within 5 years? Out of South Florida. That's for sure. I've been here for many years, and I've raised my children. I've done a lot. I have a very, very secure, stable marriage support system. I have my clientele, my business in South Florida is very stable, very loyal, and I'm very grateful. But I've also, throughout the years, been able to grow in other places.
Yeah.
And these people, my people in South Florida, are also moving. A lot of them have left. I've helped a lot of people move to the Northeast. move out west.
I think you're about to help me too.
We've done a few west moves, you and I already. but what I'm saying is, like, personally, where I see myself on a personal note is really the next 5 years, just traveling a little bit more, but with not personally traveling, like for me, like leisure, but as far as my work and getting myself out there, making myself physically available to people in different locations. Exciting. Yeah. So
and seeing all your clients, no matter where they are,
and
what
I love
state
them, and I love them, and they come out. They'll drive 4 hours to go see me when I'm somewhere. I have people that take flights to Miami to come see me, you know. So, but I really, really want, where I want my business to go and where I want to help my clients and where I want to help people is I want to do more workshops. I want to work more with other healers. That's the problem that we have in South Florida, is that healers don't like working with other healers.
I'm not sure what that is.
It's a very competitive Latin mentality. Yeah. Because when you leave South Florida, it's different.
And everyone wants to help, and as long as you're helping, they're helping, we're growing.
When Caribbean people have crabs in a bucket syndrome, and so it's very hard for us to help each other because we come from these places that are just constantly telling us that we're not enough, oppressing us, pulling us down, you know. So we're always constantly having to step on somebody else, you know. So, but you know, so that Caribbean mentality that we have here in South Florida is very, very difficult as a healer to work with other healers. And a lot of the people here in South Florida practice things that I don't practice. So, you know,
like for example,
Santeria, brujeria, voodoo,
things that are not.
I don't practice any of that at all.
You just help people, and you have answers. And
I'm a universalist.
Yes.
It's the best way to explain.
It's like if someone asks, "Where are you from?"
On the universe.
We're here now.
Yes, I'm a universalist. And when people ask me, "Where are you from?" Earth.
Planet Earth, and
right
I
here.
am a human. People have asked me in different.
What are you? A human?
Yeah, exactly.
I say that all the time.
I was just about to say that because I've traveled a lot, and anywhere I've ever moved or lived, I've had that question. What are you? A human.
Where are you from?
Universe.
The universe.
Right here, right now.
You know, I told this lady I was an alien the other day, and she goes, "Me too." I was like, "You see,
we all are.
We all are.
You just have to see past it."
You know, we're all aliens." But that's a different conversation for another day.
A whole another time. Another Lotus arising. And another Lotus strain, which will probably be White Lotus next time.
Yes, please.
Maybe a combination of white and pink. We'll see. Well, anyways, thank you so much, Jimar Blanco, for being here. It's a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. It's been extremely therapeutic and healing for me just speaking with you.
Thank you.
I felt great energy the entire time, so I'm very happy to have you. Let our viewers know where they could find you on social media if they want to book an appointment or speak with you.
Well, she already said it. whyeaglecenter.com is my website. There you can see where I have my services, what I offer, prices. You could also contact me directly through there. And the social media, I'm in love with IG. I love it. And it's just my name. It's Jimar Blanco.
I like IG too.
It's Jimar and then the beautiful color Blanco. But I also have a YouTube channel. I have lots of videos on there that I've done throughout the years. Lots of little, like how to meditate, how to let go, little things like that. And I do every once in a while put up something about the moon, a ritual, and stuff like that. And that's also under my name. You can always find me under my name. I have a very unique name, and so it's easy to find me. So if you're interested, look me up, hit me up. And only if you're serious about healing and letting go. Otherwise,
serious inquiries only.
Otherwise, don't bother.
Yeah, if you're ready.
If you're ready,
accept that you want to let go.
I'm here.
Jimar's here for you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and cheers. Have a great day.
Thank you.
To Lotus Arising. Until next time.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Jimar Blanco. I just like saying your name.
La señorita acá, Santiago.